8 years ago, we embarked on a journey of Digital India. It was 1st July 2015 when the government of India launched Digital India Mission. I remember it vividly because at that time I was in the preparation phase. Since then, India has grown leaps and bounds. The very next year, in 2016, we introduced the revolutionary UPI, Unified Payment Interface. Since then, we have not looked back. In fact, the world is looking towards us for digital avenues. We brought Aadhaar eKYC. We introduced Jam Trinity, Jandhan Aadhaar Mobile. In recent times, we have developed India OpenStack. We are promoting open source platforms continuously. All these developments are a testimony to where we are heading. We are indeed becoming Digital India. But in this development, are we leaving ourselves vulnerable? That is the domain of today's discussion. So hello and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaunkar. In today's discussion, we are going to analyze Digital India. We are going to discuss this from the perspective of digital public infrastructure. In recent times, India has been promoting DPI a lot, and we are going to analyze what are the issues or what are the loopholes with respect to digital public infrastructure. Let's begin our discussion with a question. The question is this: every Indian aspires for the country to succeed in digital transformation. Indeed, we all wish this happens, right? And we serve as a model for the entire world. As I told you, India is looking towards us. However, the frequent data breaches, they dent India's image. You need to simply comment on this. To attempt this question, you are going to get very good fodder in this particular video lecture. To get to know that information, stay with me till the very end. All right, let's begin our discussion. But before that, there's a small notice for all of you. For all the UPSC civil services aspirants, we are starting a prelims to interview batch, the most comprehensive program completely in English from 19th June. Just visit our website www.studyiq.com. You'll get all the information. If you enroll for this program, StudyIQ will be hand-holding you from prelims to your mains to your interview. If you clear prelims 2024, you will be called for a mains residential program. It will be like a Gurukul setup where you will be focusing on answer writing. There will be mentors, there will be faculties with you to improve your answer writing. Mock interviews are also planned. A wholesome program for you for UPSC civil services preparation. For maximum discounts on these courses, do use the code Rahul Live. So enroll now. I'll see you in the class. Right, let's begin our discussion. As I told you, Digital India is our dream. It started in 2015. India launched Digital India program. Now, this is the message which Prime Minister Narendra Modi gives, that I dream of Digital India where knowledge is strength and empowers people. And we have already started a journey towards this, and we have grown leaps and bounds. If you look at the number of subscribers who use internet, number of mobile subscribers in India, we come at number 2 spot. And this number is ever increasing. And that is why we are increasing our digital services as well. You'll see that government is also spreading the digital services continuously. Of course, number 1 would be China in terms of population also. Number 2 is India. The third is distant United States of America. Then the other countries do come. So in India, there is a lot of potential, very high potential for harnessing these digital avenues. And we are moving ahead with this. As I told you, India is also using this digital public infrastructure. In recent times, we have been promoting this at international fora as well, at the United Nations, at the World Economic Forum, at all the international forums. We are trying to showcase our digital public infrastructure because India has achieved a lot in this. The flagship idea of UPI has flabbergasted all the other countries. The number of UPI transactions in India has reached a record level. You simply go even to a vegetable vendor, you're using UPI there. You're using UPI when you have a simple pani puri, right? That is the kind of reach of digital transaction, cashless transaction that we have reached. And that is why India is showcasing these ideas. As part of this DPI, we have hosted, you already know that we are the president of G20. We are having that presidency, and there are multiple meetings. And recently, there was also a conference on this digital public infrastructure. And we are trying to proceed this DPI because it is based on these aspects. It is based on flow of information. It is based on flow of money, cashless transaction. It is based on flow of people. And that is why we do get a lot of benefits. Because of this digital transformation, we have brought financial inclusion. As I told you, we have brought Jandhan, Aadhaar, Mobile Trinity. We have brought Aadhaar eKYC. Simply sitting at home, I can open my account. Right? Recently, I opened a new account. Actually, my wife opened a new account with a bank where there was no need to go to the bank also. Everything was at home only. eKYC signed directly. eKYC signed. Amazing service, right? That is why we are able to reform our social services. We are able to provide direct benefit transfer to people. We have brought Arogya Setu. We are developing the open platform network. CoWIN is an example. Apart from that, recently, based on the open platform and India Open Stack, we are promoting ONDC, right? Open Network Digital Commerce, which is dubbed as a competition for Amazon and Flipkart. Now, all these things, this entire digital public infrastructure, India Stack or Open Stack, it is based on certain things. It is based on my own consent. It is based on my permission. Now, that is what happens. As I told you, I opened my trading account also simply sitting at home. Everything sitting at home. The form was signed through my consent. I gave them eKYC consent that you can use my Aadhaar, and I digitally signed it using the Aadhaar itself. And everything is cashless. I don't need any cash. I can go for online transactions. Everything is completely paperless. Documents on demand. Example, DigiLocker, right? Give access to DigiLocker. Again, it is based on your own consent. And finally, it is presenceless also. I don't need any people. Authentication is on demand. Classic example being eKYC. So these are the pillars of digital transformation of India, and we have come a long way from 2015. Today, you get all the services simply sitting at home. There is no need to even enter bank, right? And what is responsible for this? What kind of revolution has been brought by this India Stack? It is based on eKYC. I told you, use Aadhaar. It is based on IMPS. It is based on UPI, Unified Payment Interface. The number of cashless transactions are immense in our country. Money can be transferred within seconds from one account to another account. You don't even need your mobile numbers. What you need is simple UPI ID. You don't even need a UPI ID. You simply need a Bharat QR code that has also been developed. We have also brought Aadhaar enabled payment system, AEPS. Aadhaar Pay is also being promoted. So all these are pillars of India's digital public infrastructure. And as I told you, this is a testimony where we have reached since 2015. We started our journey 1st July 2015 to become digital, and we have reached way ahead. Right now, I can say in terms of the cashless transactions, India would be on top. Right? More than Visa or MasterCard transaction, the UPI transaction have beaten almost everybody. But in this development, in this era of digital transformation, are we leaving ourselves vulnerable? Maybe. Why are we discussing this? Because in recent times, you must have heard about this news. With digital India, with digital transformation, there is also digital vulnerability, which is continuously increasing. Recently, there was a news that the CoWIN vaccination data was leaked on some Telegram channels. You must have heard about this news on StudyIQ also. We covered this on the main channel, Hindi channel, both. Center has denied this particular development, although Center has asked the CERT in Computer Emergency Response Team to look into this incident and submit the report. This is not the first time something like this has happened. And you do know why I'm talking about this. CoWIN, the CoWIN data, it is the vaccination data of Indian citizens, which is again connected to your Aadhaar itself. Now, when I got vaccinated, I gave my Aadhaar number. They gave me one shot, second shot, and with that Aadhaar, I get the vaccine certificate. In fact, I do remember that 2 years back when I was traveling, I took that vaccine certificate, I was vaccinated, and I traveled because I was allowed with that only. It was connected to my Aadhaar number. So CoWIN data means your Aadhaar data has been breached. This is not the first time. As I told you, from almost 3 to 4 years, we have been looking at so many data breaches connected to Aadhaar. In 2019, it was dubbed that one of the biggest Aadhaar data breach, data leak happened. In 2022, almost 11 crore Indian farmers' sensitive data was leaked. It's not just connected to CoWIN or Aadhaar, it is also connected to many other things. For instance, a few years back, you remember EPFO pension scheme holders data was exposed. This year itself, I think beginning of this particular year, Rail Yatra data was breached, leaving 30 million users exposed. So these data breaches, they do put a dent on digital India's image, isn't it? We need to do something. Now the question is, what are we doing? What is India doing? Along with this digital transformation, I need to ensure that I am digitally resilient too, isn't it? And we have taken many steps. For instance, what the government is doing. Government, we have the IT Act 2000. Under that, we have Section 66. Section 66, it deals with cyber security. 66F deals with cyber terrorism, etc. Apart from that, we have brought National Cyber Security Policy way back in 2013 itself. We have brought many institutional setups, like we have created NCEERT, National Critical Information Infrastructure Protection Center. We also have CERT in Computer Emergency Response Team India at the central level. State CERTs have also been created. We have also created Cyber Crisis Management Plan. We have brought Cyber Coordination Center. Cyber Security Coordinator has been created. We are running so many information and educational awareness center. Government is providing free services for cyber cleaning, Cyber Surakshit Bharat, Cyber Swachhata Kendra, so that you clear your devices, etc., of malware, botware, etc. All these things are being done. I'm not telling the government is not doing anything, but despite all these steps, there are some lacunae which need to be highlighted, because we are looking at continuous data breaches. Now, what are the issues, especially with the data? You can see so many steps have been taken, but with respect to data, there are a few things which are missing. One of the biggest thing is with the government itself, there is always an attitude of denial, and you saw it here also. The focus is not on solution, the focus is rather on reacting. The focus is on maintaining the image. Attitude of denial rather than solution. The same thing has happened here also. There is also a problem with effectiveness of CERT in. Right? We have created Computer Emergency Response Team. It has been almost 20 years now. But despite all that, the effectiveness of CERT in comes into question multiple times. The prime example being now itself. Now you can see here, the government has denied it. They have not accepted. They say there was no data breach, right? There have been multiple statements from the government officials, from the ministers, etc. They say there was no data breach, nothing like that. But still, CERT in is investigating the matter. The report would be submitted. When? That's the question, right? So CERT in and its effectiveness has always been one of the problems. We need to build technical capability of CERT in. State CERTs, that means state computer emergency response teams, they also need to be strengthened continuously. Apart from that, there is one more problem of unnecessary data collection. Now, even with your government apps, say for example, I download any kind of app. I download DigiLocker, I download say CoWIN, ROKC, whatever it is. They collect unnecessary amount of data, huge amount of data. Whatever, some data is not even required. Right? They ask, say, for instance, they ask my mobile. Okay, understandable. They ask my email. Understandable. Right? They ask my location to some extent. All right. All right. But they ask access to the camera, to the microphone, to your files, to everything. Why this unnecessary data collection? If the data is not secure, then try to keep data collection at the minimum, or make India digitally resilient so that data breaches do not happen. So this is one of the problem. And majority of the apps these days, they have become data guzzlers. In fact, I was checking my phone today morning itself. I was looking at some of the heaviest of the apps, right? Since my phone was telling low memory, so I was looking. Some of the apps, they reached the data of approximately 10 GB. And I cleared the cache, I cleared the data, the cache memory data, everything was cleared. But despite all that, many apps are actually data guzzlers, especially on the open source, right? Open source apps are more data guzzlers, right? Now, apart from that, there is weak digital governance in our country. This is one of the biggest issue. At first, when Aadhaar came, there was a criticism of Aadhaar that there was no legal backing to it. Eventually, Aadhaar was brought, or Aadhaar Act was passed under the finance bill, and now at least Aadhaar has legal backing. But none of the other digital public infrastructure that we have brought, they have any sort of legislative mandate. And it is always better to have legislative mandate, because we will have clarity with respect to steps if data breaches happen. How is the government going to respond? Government would be held accountable in the parliament, in the House of People, right? Apart from that, there is a big problem that in India, there is no data protection law. This is very strange, right? Even now, we are being governed by archaic IT Act 2000. Yes, it has been amended multiple times, but since we are transforming into digital era, perhaps we need a more comprehensive Digital Protection Act, Data Protection Act. Apart from that, yes, we have been working on a national strategy for cyber security. It is still pending from almost 3 to 4 years. It is still pending. It is yet to be finalized. So these are some of the issues that are right now plaguing India's digital transformation. Data security, data breaches have become a huge problem. So what can be done? There are some suggestions. If a question like this comes, you need to highlight the issues. You also have to give some positive suggestions, right? What can be the suggestions? First suggestion is, whenever there are data breaches, investigate and accountability should be set. What is the responsibility? Who was responsible for it? And what is the action plan? It is better to be proactive rather than reactive. The next thing is, perhaps we need a comprehensive Digital India Act. As I told you, we are still being governed by the archaic IT Act 2000. And as I told you, digital governance is a problem. So we need to bring better digital governance norms through a more comprehensive, probably Digital India Act. Apart from that, we need to strengthen the computer emergency response team continuously. It has to respond as soon as possible. Along with this Digital India Act, we do need a data protection and data localization law for sure. It has been a work in progress for many years now. In fact, if you go to PRS, you will find data protection bill, but it is not yet finalized. There is a lot of discussion going on this as well. For our digital public infrastructure, that means for CoWIN, for Aadhaar, for Arogya Setu, for UPI, for all these things, what we need is perhaps some sort of legal structure to our digital public infrastructure, because ultimately it is public infrastructure, it is public data, it has to be safeguarded. And finally, we need to come up with a cyber security strategy and a contingency plan. If there is a huge data breach, what are the steps that we are going to take? We need a cyber security doctrine as well. Perhaps many security analysts suggest that we may need to build a counter offensive force or a counter offensive cyber army. That may also be one of the good suggestions, right? So we do need certain changes, because this digital journey, we cannot take a step back in it, right? It's like an arrow or a bullet which has already been fired. We cannot take it back. So what we need to do is we need to move ahead, and we need to ensure that through this digital transformation, we are not vulnerable. We become more and more digitally resilient in India, right? With that note, let me end my discussion. Thank you very much for watching this particular video. And if you have liked this video, you can always follow me on my social media handle @Rahul Sai222. If there is any development on the data protection law or any other news connected to cyber security, we'll discuss that on StudyIQ for sure. Thank you for watching this video. Jai Hind.